Hello everyone, welcome to Soumya Tutorials class BCA second semester NAP syllabus. Subject is data structure using C. Lecture 2 means session 2. Chapter name is Introduction to Data Structure. This session it is continued from the last session. Then let me know about what is an dynamic memory allocation. Dynamic memory allocation, it is a process of assigning the memory spaces during the runtime or an execution time. This is, we can call it as dynamic memory allocation. In the dynamic memory allocation, amount of the memory is to be allocated is not known before the runtime. So that this memory is allocated during the runtime only and when we required this memory. So this is a process we can call it as dynamic memory allocation. In the dynamic memory allocation, the C programming, it supports dynamic memory allocation and also the allocation of objects using two operator. One we can call it as new operator and one more it is called delete operator. C supports two different types of operator is used for allocating the memory and deallocating the memory. The new is an operator which is used for allocating the memory dynamically at runtime, and the delete is the operator is used for deallocating the memory dynamically at runtime. So new andre ನಾವು ಅನ್ಕೋಬೇಕು new is operator is used for allocation and delete is operator which is used for deallocation. Deallocation means removing. So ಅಥವಾ delete ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ. ಸೊ ಮೆಮೊರಿನ ಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನ್ಯೂ ಆಪರೇಟರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಮೆಮೊರಿನ ಡಿಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಆಪರೇಟರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Then new operator. So already we know the definition of a new operator. New is an operator which is used for allocating the memory dynamically at runtime. Here are the three different syntax. So first syntax is that allocate memory of a type integer variable only. So to allocate memory of a type of integer variable only. First syntax ಅನ್ನ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ just only one variable ನ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಗೆ ಮೆಮೊರಿನ ಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದಾಗ ಈ ಸಿಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. So here are the syntaxes which are in star IPTR, it is a pointer variable. Then new is operator int. Then in one more variable, pointer variable, p number. So these two are the variable which is used for allocating the memory spaces. So the first line int IPTR equal to new int and int star p number. The first line declares the two pointer variable IPTR and also p number. The first line declares the pointer variable that is a p number and also IPTR. Second line p number equal to new int. The second line it allocates a memory for an integer and then makes the p number is point to this new memory. So this is a syntax which is used for allocating the memory for a type integer variable only. Second syntax is to allocate a memory spaces for arrays. Array means array is an ordered collection of homogeneous elements of the same data type under the same name. So array to allocate memory for array. So ನೋಡಿ second syntax ಅಲ್ಲಿ collection of a ordered collection of an elements. ಈ ordered collection of elements ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ arrayಗೆ ಮೆಮೊರಿನ ಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದಾಗ ಈ ಸಿಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬಹುದು. So that is a double is a data type, dptr it is a pointer variable, new is a operator and then double, then subscript is to be indicated that it is an array. Within a subscript we have to mention in the size of the array. Size of the array is indicate that how many number of the elements are to be present in this array. So second syntax ಅನ್ನ ಏನಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ allocate memory spaces for the array. First syntax ಅನ್ನ just only one variable ಗೆ memory space ನ create ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದಾಗ first syntax ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. Second syntax ಅನ್ನ arrays ಗೆ memory spaces ಅನ್ನ allocate ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದಾಗ second syntax ಅನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. So third syntax is that allocate dynamic structure variable or an object. Here the student, it is a structure name. SP is the structure variable. New is the operator. Then student, it is a structure name. So that is tag name of a structure. So third syntax is used for allocate dynamic structure variable. So these three are the different syntaxes are to be used to how to allocating a memory spaces for a different variables. Then delete. Delete is an operator which is used for deallocating the memory spaces dynamically at runtime. So here are the three different syntaxes. First syntax is that delete space IPTR. So here is that IPTR is a variable. So ನಾನು ಅವಾಗಲೇ ನಾವು ನ್ಯೂ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ ಮೂರು ಸಿಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅದೇ ತರನೇ ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸಿಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ಮೆಮೊರಿನ ಡಿಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ IPTR ಅನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸಿಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಟು ಫ್ರೀ ಡೈನಾಮಿಕ್ ಅರೇ ಮೆಮೊರಿ. ಸೊ ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ ಸಿಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಅರೇ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂತ ಅರೇ ನಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಮೆಮೊರಿ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಡಿಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸಿಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರಿಪ್ಟ್ ದೆನ್ DPTR. ಥರ್ಡ್ ಸಿಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಇಸ್ ದಟ್ ಟು ಫ್ರೀ ಎ ಡೈನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್. ಸೊ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ನ್ಯೂ ಆಪರೇಟರ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಡೈನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ವೇರಿಯಬಲ್ ನ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಆ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಅನ್ನ ಡಿಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಈ ಸಿಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ನ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಟು ಫ್ರೀ ಎ ಡೈನಾಮಿಕ್ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸಿಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್. Then here are some of the differences between the static allocation of a memory and dynamic allocation of a memory. So ಏನೇನ್ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಈ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಸೊ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾಟಿಕ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸ್ಟಾಟಿಕ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಿಕ್ಸ್ಡ್, ಇಟ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಚೇಂಜ್ಡ್. So dynamic means it is always changes. So static meaning is fixed, dynamic meaning is an always changes. The first difference is that memory is allocated before the execution of the program begins. That is, we can call it as compilation time. The first difference is memory is allocated before the execution of the program is begins. That is, we can call it as compilation time. Then, as in the case of the dynamic allocation of a memory, memory is allocated during the execution of the program. So, that is called runtime. Static allocation of the memory is allocated before the program is to be begin. That is called compilation time. Memory is allocated during the execution of the program. This is, we can call it as a runtime. This is the first differences between static and also dynamic allocation of memory. Second difference is that no memory is allocation and also the deallocation actions are to be performed at the static allocation of the memory. So static memory allocation ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮೆಮೊರಿನ ಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ, ಡಿಅಲೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೂ ಆಗಲ್ಲ at the static allocation of the memory ನಲ್ಲಿ. As in the case of dynamic allocation of the memory are to be established means allocation and also destroyed means deallocation during the execution time. This is the second difference. Third difference is that variables remain permanently allocated. As in the case of a static memory allocation, here variables remain permanently allocated. But as in the case of a dynamic memory allocation, here the variables are to be allocated only when the program unit is active. In the case of dynamic allocation of the memory. Static, fourth difference is that implemented using stack and heap sort. but in the dynamic allocation of the memory implemented using data segments. So these are the four differences between static allocation of the memory and also the dynamic allocation of the memory. Then memory allocation function. So here are the some of the functions are to be used in dynamic memory allocation. So these dynamically memory allocation functions are to be defined by using the header file that is called stdlib.h. stdlib.h, it is a header file which is used for a dynamic memory allocation functions. First function is malloc. Malloc, it is a function which is used for allocating the memory dynamically. So here is the declaration syntax: void space pointer malloc within a bracket size t spaces size. Here this function is used to allocating the memory dynamically. So within malloc it contains the arguments, it is a size. The size is specifies that how many number of bytes are to be allocated. Then on success of the malloc function are to be returns the pointer to a first byte of the variable allocated memory spaces are to be returned. So here is the simply is that malloc, it is a function is used for allocating the memory space dynamically. Here is the syntax. Then second one, calloc. Calloc, it is also a function is used for allocating the multiple blocks of a memory. So that the syntax of this, the calloc function is that void space pointer calloc function, then within a subscript size t space n is a argument of a size t, then one more argument is size of a size t. Here also there are the two arguments. So arguments, it specifies that the number of blocks, and second one it specifies that the size of each block. So this syntax has two arguments. The first argument is n. So n means the number of blocks, and second argument is a size. Size is mentioning that how many number of size of each block. So this is a syntax which is used for allocating a multiple blocks of a memory by using this syntax. So that syntax is that reallocation. So that function realloc, it is a function which is used for changing the size of the each memory block. Here is a syntax. The declaration is that void space pointer realloc within a bracket void space star pointer and size. Size, it has an argument new size. So it alters the size of the memory block without losing the old data. So that we have to using the reallocation memory function. So this function is also two arguments. The first argument is that star PTR. It is a pointer variable to block of a memory that was previously allocated by the M block or an C alloc. So second one is a new size. It is used for each block size of the each block in the memory. So that is the third syntax. The last one is free. Free, it is the last memory function. The syntax is that declaration void space free within a bracket void and the pointer variable. This function is used to release the memory spaces allocated dynamically. And here is the memory is released by free function is made available to an heap sort and also can be used in some other purpose. So these are all the some of important questions from this, the concept dynamic memory allocation, and what are the operators are to be used in dynamic memory allocation, and the new operator and the delete operator, and what are the differences between static allocation of the memory and a dynamic allocation of the memory, and explain the memory allocation function. These are all the important questions from this session. Thank you. If you like my videos, please do subscribe to my channel and click on the bell icon for the new notification of the new videos. Thank you.